Hello everyone. Welcome everybody to the webinar for the SAP AI Consultants with Claude and MCP training. So we are going to start the session right away. Okay. I'm expecting the trainer to join in 1 minute. Okay. I welcome everybody for the webinar. So it will be a session 1. We are starting the batch. Okay. So kindly bear us for 1 minute of time frame.
Okay, so we start with the first topic, like the first module. It starts with the understanding the enterprise AI, and here's disclaimer.
Can you please speak loudly?
Is it audible now?
No, it is audible. You're okay. You're all good. Please go ahead with the same thing.
Yeah. So this is a disclaimer and the agenda. So we shall be talking about what is enterprise AI, the difference between enterprise AI versus simple automation, what are LLMs versus RPA, the SAP view of AI-enabled automation. We shall talk about where AI fits in SAP projects. We shall also talk about AI in all phases, and we'll discuss in detail about the consultant mindset shift and the risk and guardrails. Okay, so that's the agenda. So let's move ahead.
Are you sharing your screen?
Yeah. Is it my screen is not visible?
I'm not
Yes,
visible.
your screen is visible. Yes.
It's visible.
Audio is good. Everything is good.
Okay, great. So I think it could be a problem at your end. Please.
Support team, can you do me a huge favor? Put everybody on mute. We'll take over everything on the chat, guys. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so coming to the slide 1. So basically the module 1, the first topic. So which is what is enterprise AI? So let's read the slide's own definition first, and then make a concrete, probably a concrete statement about enterprise AI. Okay. So enterprise AI is the artificial intelligence applied to real business processes, real data, real decisions, and real workflows. Okay. But done at a scale. Every word in that sentence is deliberate. Try to understand that real business processes, it actually means that we are not, we are actually trying to touch order to cash, procure to pay, the things that the core things basically the business runs on. Okay. And at scale means that it has to work with, with all the possible transaction as reliably as the first transaction. Okay. So that's the intent. And there is a small part that people often miss, that is the slide calls out directly that in SAP environments, AI is the most valuable when it is connected to the business context, okay, to your applications, to your data, to process your data. Okay, so an AI that's brilliant but disconnected is just expensive conversation list. Okay, so if you have a brilliant AI but it is not connected, it doesn't, it is not of much use. So an AI that's grounded for your practical usage, your actual purchase order, your master data, your open tickets, that's where the real value lives, and this is exactly where MCP, earns its place. So MCP is the model context protocol. We'll anyways discuss that in detail in the upcoming slides. However, probably not in this module. We'll discuss in the other module in detail, because the theory is paramount here, because we need to understand the core concepts of every single, I would say, object that is contributing to this entire training. So MCP is one of the key, contributors here. So we need to understand every single concept of MCP. We have a detailed session, of course, in one of the modules. However, just try to understand MCP is model context protocol, and this is where MCP jumps in. Okay, on its own, Claude is a very powerful reasoning engine, as you know. I'm sure that you guys have used Claude, ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, Perplexity, all these latest generative AI engines, and the LLMs. And I'm fairly sure that you at least know how powerful Claude is and Claude's reasoning is. Okay, but you have to understand that it doesn't automatically or magically know your SAP data. Okay. For Claude to get integrated or know your SAP data, you have to use some mechanism, and that mechanism is MCP. Okay. So MCP server is the only standardized connector that lets Claude reach to the live SAP context to read a particular, say, sales order. So look up for a material, pull up a workshop document. Essentially, every query that you put in Claude should be grounded to the real SAP live instance once the MCP is established. So you get the reality rather than guessing from the training data of the LLMs. Okay, you get the real data. So note the word grounded. I'm sure that you probably would know the word grounded, but just for people who are not aware, grounded means basically you're directing your search or directing your things towards a particular place on an area. Okay, so you're channelizing your search, or you're basically pointing. You can say pointing your retrievals towards a particular place. So that's a process of grounding. So that word grounding is going to recur all the day that I'll be talking. Okay, so a simple tabular representation of the differences between enterprise AI and simple automation. Okay, so this table is one of the most useful slides in the whole module. Okay, because the confusion between AI and automation is what derails the real projects. Let's walk the rows. Start with logic style. Traditional automation is a rule-based and a predefined process which somebody might have wrote. Like, if this, then that. If this happens, then this will happen. This is the next step. And the machine follows it exactly every single time. It is a repeatable, I would say repeatable process where you get the same kind of answers for the same kind of questions that you ask. Okay, that is automation. But enterprise AI is different. It is probabilistic, it is reasoning oriented, and it is context driven. Okay, it doesn't follow a fixed script. It weighs the input that is provided to it as a prompt and produces a most likely response. There are many mechanisms that it uses, like semantic search, probably indexing, grounding. These are some processes that it follows. So overall, it produces a most likely response to your question. Okay, the single difference explains that almost everything else on this table. Okay, the next row, what each is best for. Automation shines on repetitive structured task, which basically has the same form, same screen, same fields, and you can use it millions of times. Okay, but AI shines on the opposite, where it is unstructured, ambiguous, language heavy work, where the input is basically like a paragraph, an email, a complaint, a contract, and none of the two are equal, identical. So you have to remember one thing, that if you could write a flawless instruction manual for the task, you automate it. If the task needs some judgment to read between the lines, that is where AI earns its importance. Okay, and the third row is change handling, and this one sometimes bites teams in production. So what I mean by this is that traditional automation breaks when screens or logics change. Okay, so move a button, rename a field, and your bot falls over. Okay, but AI adapts to variation in a much better way. And but obviously it needs guardrails. So when I say adapts better, it's not that it adapts safely on its own. You have to adapt it with some guardrails, with some governance, which anyways we shall be talking about. Okay, so that is what this, and the last two, the bottom two rows, as you see, which brings it home for SAP, is the output type. Automation gives you a deterministic execution. The same input always yields the same output, as I was saying earlier. You run it millions of times, you'll get the same output, which is exactly why you need it for a payment run. AI gives you insights. It drafts recommendations and uses agent actions. It generates outputs that are useful precisely because they are generated, not pre-canned like we are doing it for automation. So I hope after looking at this table, you don't probably get confused between automation and enterprise AI. So don't mix these things up. You would never want your payment to be probabilistic. You obviously need, when it's a payment process, you need something that is, have a deterministic execution, of course, and probabilistic is something which AI is going to use. We'll cover many variety of use cases later on. So, and the last row, basically the SAP value is the punchline. So automation's value in SAP data entry, approvals, UI actions, a mechanical work, basically, So enterprise AI's value is discovery, analysis, co-pilots, document understanding, decision support, basically the cognitive work. So I'll, probably repeat once again. So data entry, as you see, approvals, UI actions, these are extremely mechanical. Okay. This is automation. And when it comes to all these, as it mentioned here, discovery, analysis, co-pilots, document understanding, decision support, they have some cognitive work, basically. It is something that would need thinking and reasoning, and that's why it falls under enterprise AI. So they are not competitors. They are live in different lanes. Basically, you can say they are parallelly running for various use cases, and you need to determine that which use case will support enterprise AI and which will support automation. Okay. Suppose the industry is manufacturing some particular product. So maybe you can say anything, maybe right from car tires to plastic bottles or anything, So you provide the input, it will generate the same plastic bottle in the same batch, in the same series. You cannot be probabilistic here that it will produce a 1 liter bottle and, it will be, judging with some parameters and then start producing 5 liter bottles. No, that won't work. The business model never works. So there you have to use automation. Okay. So it depends on the use case where you're using, but you have to remember that these two are different, but these two are not competitors. These are, practically same thing. Not same thing. They're practically independent things that are running in the different lanes. And the strongest solutions use both. If you want to go for a best solution, you have to use both automation for deterministic cases, or where the part of your spine which is completely deterministic, you use automation. And if you want to have some judgment around it, use AI. Okay. So is there any kind of questions or something? Shall we take up a question or something? Like, is this clear till this point?
Nothing particular, but if you want to open the floor for questions, it's going to go for another hour.
Yeah, I know. I just thought of checking with the crowd that whether they're getting the.
We are taking over all the questions on the chat. We've asked everybody to ask questions on the chat. And as you come to a point when you are about 30 minutes, 1 hour, and when you are ready for all the technical questions or whatever, we'll ask them to raise their hand, and then we'll go with that. Okay.
Okay. Great.
Right, cool.
So
thank you.
Yeah, and so one more thing. Let me, which probably I think we can still say here that maybe a co-pilot use case, just to give you a use case for an example, where exactly you can use Claude and MCP. Suppose a finance user asks in plain language that, why some invoice is blocked or why the sales order is not getting processed. Okay. So the Claude provides a reasoning through it, uses an MCP connector and connects to the S/4HANA, pulls out the live posting and the block reason or the problem for that particular sales order or invoice or whatever, and prints out the answer for you. I mean, rather generates the answer for you in the chat. Okay. It has a capability of documenting the summary, doing the RCA, building up BRDs. It has every single capability that you can do manually, but you have to design your system in such a way that it has that capability. Now, when I say that designing, so there is some setup and configuration that you need to do. However, you can still do it at a server level, or you can do it at a local level. We shall probably, talk about both, how you do it. But the end goal is to connect SAP with SAP instances with Claude LLM via the MCP. That is the idea. Okay, so in a way, you can say that it is not just any kind of a chatbot usage. Okay, so it is not a chatbot kind of thing that we are trying to prepare here. We are not here to give people assistant kind of a thing. It's basically, it is a complete Claude access by setting up MCP servers. And I think in the demo session, I showed you some demo where I showed you how you can, even without opening your SAP instance, you can actually access your SAP data from Claude directly once you have your MCP connector established. Obviously, it will ask you for a permission the very first time. Once you accept that permission, give that permission, you can, basically seamlessly go ahead and connect to your SAP instance without even opening it, because it is already connected in the backend via MCP. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay. Now, quick, information on LLMs. I believe by this time most of you already know about it. However, just to talk about LLMs. So LLM is a large language model essentially. Okay. So it is a model that is trained with enormous amounts of text that predicts language to reason, summarize, draft, classify, and answer in a natural language. Okay. So when I say it is text, there are models which are called, there are LLMs that have multimodal capability where it can process the image and videos also. Okay, guys, can you please go on mute, please? Okay, so yeah, so I was talking about the LLMs. Okay, so you can have a multimodal LLM, and you can anyways have a text-based LLM, which is most of the LLMs are anyways text-based, yeah, which, as I said, used for reasoning, summarizing, drafting, classifying, and providing answers in natural language. So it actually, when you give a search in an LLM, it doesn't actually look for a fixed answer like your chatbot or your automation tools provide. It generates the most likely, the most useful response from what it has learned. As I said in the beginning, that LLMs were trained in large, enormous amounts of data. So as per the training that it has obtained, it retrieves the data. Okay. So suppose your automation is being trained with some particular text, and once you provide that particular text as your question, it will retrieve that particular answer. But if you tweak the text in such a way that it means the same, however, it is not what the automation was set up or configured, it won't be able to provide the answer. Okay. So AI or these LLMs basically use a particular process called semantic search, where it basically, looks for the closest or the nearest meaning of that particular thing and then retrieves the answer. Hence, it does not have a fixed answer every time, but it generates the most likely and the most useful response that you need. Okay. So Claude is that kind of a model. There are other, LLMs also apart from Claude, but our focus on this training is primarily into Claude, just because SAP is tied up with Anthropic, which is the parent company of Claude. And considering the other models and their capabilities, Claude is one of the world leaders. So it is very difficult to say that which is the best in the world, because probably various rating tools might rate some other LLMs also, or maybe it could be different. However, as per my experience, and as far as we know, Claude is one of the best. If not the best, it is definitely the one of the best. So that's the reason why we are focusing on Claude here, and its capabilities to have MCP connectors. MCP is a open source protocol provided by Anthropic itself. So it is very easy to integrate MCP with Claude. Okay. So now you will notice the cards on these slides are deliberately showing 4 classic deterministic mechanisms that we already used. So RPA is robotic process automation. Okay. So now RPA mimics the user actions, as you can see, and it is best used for repetitive tasks such as copy paste, data entry, and data extraction. You can say this is, so is it an AI? Well, it has some kind of intelligence, but it is not a perfect AI that we can think of. It is probably a very early generation of machine learning that we can think of, and that is where RPA falls in. Okay, so we have scripts. So scripts basically execute some predefined technical logic for specific tasks and integrations. We have APIs and BAPIs. Okay, so these perform some structured system-to-system actions using defined interfaces, and we have workflows. Workflows are basically, some routing approvals, tasks, and business processes and steps that follow a predefined path and a decision logic. Something you can say, something like a payment process. If all your details in a invoice is correctly there, then the payments gets processed successfully. If you're raising a leave request to your employer, first it goes up to approval for your manager, to your supervisor, then probably it can go to his supervisor as well. There is a workflow established, probably it can go to your HR, and then finally it gets approved. Okay, so it depends on how you set up any workflow, but yeah, it is also a kind of automation. So now when I say LLMs, the next slide, which is talks about LLMs versus RPA, they are very different, So this slide actually widens the lens, comparing LLM in the way of working against the whole family of deterministic tools, RPA scripts, BAPIs and APIs and workflows. Okay, so let's read it as a consultant who has to choose the right tool on a real project, and because you are being assigned that responsibility, choosing anything wrong here will burn your budgets and probably incur some loss for the company. So this gives the description of what exactly RPA does. I think it is self-explanatory. I need not go through it because this is probably very easy to understand, which I also spoke briefly in the previous slide. This is how you have scripts and BAPIs and APIs structured, and this is how you have the workflow structured. But LLMs are completely different. Let me move to the next slide. LLMs are, as I said, they do not follow a deterministic process. They rely more on a probabilistic process. Okay, so let's ground all of these into SAP's actual product direction, because clients will ask you, what does SAP itself say? So this slide actually gives you 4 solid statements about what is the SAP view of AI-enabled automation. The first is SAP built process automation that combines workflows, decision logic, RPA bots, AI-based document processing all at one place. That's important because SAP didn't build a separate AI island, if you can imagine. It folded its AI document processing into the same tool set that already does workflows and bots. The deterministic and the intelligent live are on, intelligent lies under the same roof. Okay, so this is the first point. The second point talks about SAP also supports LLM-powered document extraction and integration with third-party LLMs through APIs. This is very important. I think you should read it, pretty carefully. Third-party LLMs through APIs. So SAP also provides an open window for connecting to external reasoning models and bring them into the landscape, SAP landscape, in a governed way. It is not directly, connecting to third-party LLMs, directly, so that you can use it from the SAP instances. No, you have APIs. There are API calls that are being made, and that's how you connect to third-party LLMs. So, this single line is the architectural permission slip for everything this course is all about. It means like a model like Claude can be brought to bear on SAP processes through proper API-driven integration. It's not a hack in any way, but as a supported pattern. It's not a workaround. It's a governed, defined process by which models like Claude can be, connected to SAP to conduct the API-based integration. Okay. So now, as what we call it, SAP, Claude is the natural home for MCP. This is where SAP says that integration with third-party through APIs is basically, considering that MCP is the cleanest and the most standardized way to make that connection. And Claude on one side stays as the reasoning model. SAP system stays on the other side. MCP is the bridge between both of them that carries context both ways. Note this point. It is both ways. It is not a single way. Okay. So I believe most of you would be knowing that the AI focused module for SAP is SAP Joule that you have, and SAP actually positions Joule as a AI co-pilot. Okay. So that brings assistants and agents together across the enterprise. So Joule is basically the SAP's native co-pilot and the agent layer. It is basically the in-product assistant that users will be increasingly using to meet their, basically to meet their objectives while using SAP application. It is worth being very clear with the clients that how this relates to Claude and MCP, because the question always comes that Joule is basically SAP's first-party co-pilot inside the SAP world, and Claude is a frontier reasoning model that you can bring, that you can use to bring in flexible reasoning, and MCP, as I said, is a standard way to connect that reasoning to a live context. So these are the layers in a stack. They are not rivals on a shelf. You have to understand this. So Joule is not a rival for MCP. There are various stacks. They're not rivals. Okay. So I think in the demo session, there was a question that, why do we have this while we still have Joule? Well, that probably answers this question, because Joule is primarily focused as a co-pilot. Okay. So, yeah. Now the fourth statement, which says that SAP's direction is not AI instead of automation. Okay, but AI plus automation. So if you remember in the last couple of slides, I also talked about you have to intelligently think that automation and enterprise AI will run hand in hand. Depending on the use case, you will be clubbing them, you will be merging them. However, they stay as a part of the same package. Okay. So every time someone frames this as a replacement theory, that AI will replace our bots, Claude AI or MCP will replace SAP Joule or, probably AI might replace our workflows and scripts. They have misread the strategy from SAP. There are people, trust me, I know, who has this, understanding, which is absolutely wrong. Nothing is getting replaced. It is all being used. However, the usage is not, I would say, usage actually is, it actually depends on the use cases, not on on any guesswork. Okay. So yes, so AI is basically added on top to handle the judgment, the unstructured edges that automation could never reach. Okay, so since you are the architect of a solution, probably you guys are working in senior positions in your organizations, and you are an architect, or you presume to be, or you aim to be an architect very soon. So if you think like an architect, your job is not to pick a side of automation versus AI. You can, so both can coexist in the same family. Your job is to place each capability where it belongs. So SAP is built process automation, which is probably used for the reliable spine, the Joule and third party. So automation is for the reliable spine basically. So which we can say, think of Joule in that way, and the third party reasoning like Claude or any other cognitive layer for that matter is basically the real, reasoning context of SAP that we can think of. Okay, so AI plus automation is the whole game. We are not removing anything. So there is no question of you overriding a capability that SAP already provides. No, they all coexist together. You are adding, through this course actually, you are adding one layer on top of SAP Joule, or SAP for that matter, where you can actually integrate a extremely powerful LLM into your day-to-day work and get your things done. That is the objective of this course.
Okay, there is a request. Can we cover like maybe 5 to 7 minutes on the curriculum part? Because we are getting a lot of questions on what is covered. Is finance type covered, EWM covered, how it will help me in ABAP
Sure.
or BTP. And then a lot of folks were wondering what accesses do they get? Do they get access to Joule?
Okay.
Do they get? So I know we are very clear on this, but if you open the cohort, I think there is everything on it. But if you can just quickly explain, that'd be great.
This is the cohort.
I posted, but if you open the cohort, right, on page 6, there is a screenshot. If you can just explain that, it has one page, everything.
In the slide, you mean? Oh, in the
cohort.
One
page
second, right?
6.
Page 6.
Just go to the cohort and scroll down. I'll show you.
Where do I see the cohort here? Can you see my screen here? I'm in the LMS actually.
No, the cohort's not here. The cohort link I just posted in the chat.
Okay, in the chat. Okay.
Yeah. So if you click on it, because it's one screen for all the phases, it's much easier than scrolling up and down. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So scroll down. I'll tell you where to go. Scroll down.
Yeah. I'm just trying to minimize this.
Yeah, it's all good.
So page number 6, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. So now if you,
can you see?
If you can just explain this, make it a little bigger if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. If you could just explain this, that'll because we are taking chats on the side, so it's just kind of. So let me put we will cover all of this stuff, phases for everyone. Let me tell you something. So this is an about 8-week program, as you can see here. Okay, we'll cover from phase 1 to phase 8, whatever it says here. After this, your instructor is also going to explain you basically, how the but MCP is connected to S4 to connect
MCP
to
server.
Claude Pro. As far as you guys getting the access, all the connections are already done. We have tested it several times. In fact, your trainer will show that live, how it can create a business requirement document or get the invoices numbers and all that stuff just from MCP. Sorry, just from Claude.
Fraud.
So yeah.
Yes,
So
yeah,
what are you going to get? You guys are going to sign up for Claude Pro from your own Gmail account, and we will get you voucher for 2 months. Okay, so that will be free. And then the whole connection with S4 will be done by our team. We will do it in the session, how to connect that to MCP to your S4. All of that stuff is part of this training. You don't have to do anything after that, after you buy, because when you buy the Claude Pro account, you can always connect that to the server and extend it later on. We only run the training for 2 months, but if you wish, you can extend it and you can use it for your own self. Also, there was another question which came quite a lot. Sorry, I'm not trying to take too much time. How is this going to help me in my company? That does not matter to us. We are teaching this topic for you. We are teaching this topic for you. And please jump in deep, because you said very good statement last time. It's for your, so I will give you the floor to talk about that particular point, because I would love that, because you taught me that. So go ahead.
Yeah. So as I think Alok was saying, how this is going to help you. See, trust me, I ask you to go through any Google search or anywhere, you won't find a similar training elsewhere. Okay, this is the only training because this is a very customized training plan that we have developed. This training encompasses every aspect of how you integrate an external LLM with your live SAP instance, considering every single aspect like security, governance, monitoring, control, guardrails, as well as, maintaining your standards, but still you can use an extremely powerful, LLM for your SAP daily work. And if analysis can be done by Claude in maybe 10 seconds or maybe a minute, which probably would have taken an analyst, say 2 to 3 hours, just imagine the savings. I believe every company that has a IT service management portal or ITSM tool like ServiceNow, or you can use Jira for tickets. So whenever you have some incident raised or some question raised, when something gets stopped or blocked, there are tickets that raise in or requests that gets raised in your ITSM system, and one engineer or one person is assigned those tickets, and he works on that to resolve it. Okay, when I say ticket list, it could be anything like your invoice. As I said, invoice could be got stuck or blocked, or your order is not getting approved, your purchase order is getting stuck or not approved. So so somebody has to open that in the SAP screen, do the analysis, fix it, and then produce a root cause analysis document as per the process. So all these things, this is just one use case, guys. There are plenty. I mean, we'll anyways talk about a lot of use cases in the training. It's just that everything will be done in less than a minute, or to be very, I'll give you a relaxed estimate, it could take 2 to 3 minutes max. So by the time you put that query to Claude, you go and grab your coffee, your entire analysis is done, and it is in front of you. Now it is up to you. You can do some manual checks and have a human in the loop connection, so that you can actually do some overrides if you want to do in that, and then your stuff is ready. So your incident is solved in 3 to 5 minutes max. Just imagine the advantage. Now, what Alok was saying is that, probably a question can come that how you will integrate with your work. See, the point is, unless you learn this, you won't be knowing this. And once you know this, you as a consultant or an architect would propose this to your management and get this thing done. Until the time they do not deploy this in the server, you can do a local MCP connection also, which is independent of any kind of which is independent of any server preparation at the SAP side. You can do it at a local level as well. So regardless of anything, the very first thing that you gain out of this course is a solid knowledge, which will help you to use MCP. And when I say Claude, you can use the same techniques for any other LLMs, but obviously, the concept and the flow would be the same. Maybe some steps would be different because, as I said, MCP is a open source protocol. I mean, basically, model context protocol is an open source feature that is given by Anthropic directly. So it has very easy to adapt features for Claude. Probably it will take some additional steps if you want to integrate with any other, Gen AI tool for that matter. But the concept remains the same, So this knowledge is something which will make you think like an architect, get your things done, and when your teammates or your boss or your management sees that you have a potential capability of resolving queries, questions, tickets, incidents, preparing documents, preparing BRDs, doing analysis, doing any kind of stuff that you regularly do as a part of your SAP support or development, if that can be done in minutes, then why not? See, AI adoption, I tell you, when you try to do something, anything that you want to induce into a system, the very first thing that you get is a challenge. Okay. When people were working manually in offices and computers came in, people started, revolting. Some people cried, saying that, we'll lose our jobs, computer will eat up everything. But do you really think the number of jobs that you have those days, isn't it far more less than that you have now? Because they have created so many opportunities. They have created so many roles, so many skills, and so many positions, right? Enterprises have evolved, the work culture, the people have evolved. So, a challenge appearing on your road, on your path is quite evident. It will definitely come. But unless people who are at senior positions or who are actually, individually intelligent enough to understand the potential advantages of these tools, leveraging these tools, if they can step up and propose it to their companies, just imagine if you do not do it. I tell you a very simple reason. I mean, it's not about this course or anything. Just take a general thing. Very soon, these processes will be done by various companies and various employees. As of now, I believe a very less number of people are actually using these. So you can actually be a pioneer to using these systems. If you do this, you will always stay ahead of the race. If you do not do this, end of the day, know that for the next 1 year or so, this is going to be the BAU, the business as usual process in your companies. And people who already know about it, if they have not learned it, they will obviously feel that they got a chance, they didn't do it. Okay, so it's a choice for the architects and the consultants who have joined this session to think over holistically, to think in a I would say to have a future vision of the complete IT landscape and roadmap that is coming up in the next couple of years. When this is possible here now, this is going to be a process after 1 year or maybe 6 months also, for that matter. You never know. Things are evolving so fast. So the point is, the choice is yours. So pretty questions like, how do I use it? Why if my company does not allow me? If my boss says that no, a $20 Claude Pro access is very costly, and there will be questions everywhere. There will be questions. See, the main job of an IT architect is not to resolve tickets sitting on your desk. Okay, it is the brilliance of your thoughts that can bring a change in this landscape. That is how you should think your role should be. And if you can project this, if you can say that there's a feasibility that can actually reduce a lot of workforce in your company, and know that staying ahead will always save you from any kind of reduction of job roles that is going to happen. So I'm being very honest and clear with you. We see a huge problems with people who are not getting adapted towards the AI world.
Hey, ZaranTech now offers SAP corporate training. That's right. Train your workforce in SAP with our comprehensive program. We offer customized courses, certified trainers, and hands-on labs for both individuals and businesses. Our standout features: bespoke training, fully configured servers for practice, in-house materials, and a dedicated LMS. Plus, get session recordings and 24/7 support. From functional to technical modules, we have got it all. Choose ZaranTech for SAP training and watch your team excel. Learn, upskill, succeed with ZaranTech.
You have to use AI in every single. You should not be only thinking of asking ChatGPT to sing a song or to write a poem, or use Claude to just format your documents and ask him to write a story for your kid. These are not the right use cases. This is what is the right use case, and there are far more use cases which we shall be covering, which could possibly, you will actually see that at some point of time in this course, you will really feel that what you had been doing all these days is not needed anymore. Trust me, you will have that feeling. You will feel that it is not needed anymore, and we have to use. Sorry, let me go back to the slides once again. So
provided your company, your client, your customer is using this or have the setup to use this, has the governance to use this.
Yeah,
that's the big question. Now, a lot of people here are wondering, well, how should I take this use case to my customer? You take the use case to your customer. But it's all dependent on their governance, their use, how they want to use this. Okay, this is for knowledge gaining. Oh, one more thing. We also have Devraj Bardhan. Devraj Bardhan is the IBM thought leader for SAP Business AI. Devraj, would you want to say something?
Yeah. Hi, Devraj.
Devraj Bardhan is logging in from UK.
Okay. Hi guys. Yeah. So, right, my vision is exactly what Deep's been saying. Right, you need to learn first, because once you learn, that's your knowledge, and then if you can then kind of prove it out on your own, you improve your skills. That's number one. Then identify use cases for your company and then try and implement for a company. So that comes next, right? But the first thing is, for the next 8 weeks, the idea is to upskill yourself and have the skill, so that you know how AI works, how cloud works, how the autonomous enterprise work, and then obviously bring that into your company. And one thing, not only will it work on S4, you can also make it work for ECC. You can make it work for non-SAP systems. You can make it work for your own tools that you use, like Jira.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's the whole idea. The idea is to learn first, because once you learn, then that's a skill that you take. Like with everyone, all of you learned S4, you learned finance, you learned ABAP. You do not say, how will my company use ABAP? You learned ABAP for a job, right? Now you're going to learn AI and you're going to implement AI in your company or in the future company that you join. That's the motto you need to be looking at.
Devraj, very well said. Just to emphasize on the point which Devraj just said, this knowledge is not only limited to SAP's integration with MCP. You are integrating MCP with SAP. You can actually do it with any other non-SAP tools also. These concepts are important. As you just mentioned with an example, that Jira, you can connect Jira with this. You can connect ServiceNow. You can connect any application for that matter. It's just that the configuration steps might be a bit different, but the process remains the same. I believe, Debraj, you are focusing on this thing, right? I mean, basically, it is a I would say a multifaceted advantage that people will get when they start using MCP.
Yeah, exactly.
And
And
if
then
go
the
ahead.
first step is learning MCP and trying to use MCP. The second step, which is pushing the boundary, will be to even.
Devraj, you cut out. All right.
So
by the way, if you guys don't know who Devraj is, Devraj has written about 6 press books. He's a very good friend of mine. I have met him quite a lot. He is my mentor in a lot of SAP things. I talk to him almost weekly. Very, very knowledgeable guy. Leads the AI at IBM. I think you can see his profile. I invited him to take a look at the session, and if he wants to speak. So Dave, you're okay with that, right? Just asking.
Yeah, sure, of course. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is great.
So,
actually,
yeah,
the point that Debraj brought in is really, really good. That it is platform independent. Basically,
Right.
you can integrate with anything. The knowledge still remains with you.
There is one more question, if you can shed some light on it, and after that, I'll ask you to show the server setup. Is that a lot of folks here are asking, why do we need Claude if we have Joule? Very good question. Very, very good question. So if you can shed some light on that, that'd be great.
So I think probably folks missed some points. So if you see the third point here, what does it say? It says that SAP positions Joule as an AI copilot, that brings assistants and agents together across enterprise. So Joule is SAP's native copilot. It is the agent layer of SAP. It is the in-product assistant that users will be increasingly using across SAP applications. Its purpose is different. It is worth to be very clear with the clients that how this relates with Claude and MCP, because the question always comes, as Alok said, I think multiple, I am not able to see the questions screen, but I'm pretty sure that this question has come multiple times. And we have to be very clear. Joule is SAP's first party copilot inside the SAP world. I'm just trying to repeat the sentence. SAP Joule is SAP's first party, listen to the word, first party copilot, which essentially means an inbuilt copilot that stays inside the SAP world. But Claude is a reasoning model that is a third party model, which you are integrating with SAP via MCP. So the purpose is completely different. SAP's Joule is a copilot. It is not as intelligent as Claude for reasoning purposes. Joule is not being projected as a top class LLM by SAP that can compete with Claude. It is not a competitor for Claude. It has its own path, and Claude has its own objectives. Now, when you bring in Claude, you are, having an inbuilt tool or inbuilt AI copilot, which is Joule, as well as you are integrating an external AI superpower model via MCP. So this integrating this superpower model into SAP will give you very deep analysis to be done, flexible reasoning to be done, MCP to be used in a standardized way to connect that reasoning to live context. These are different layers in SAP. These are not rivals. Try to understand. These are not rivals on a shelf fighting with each other. No, they have their own use cases, own purposes. Is there any question still? I am happy to clarify once again. Please speak up, guys, on the chat box. I mean, I'll wait for a couple of seconds, and then if there is nothing, Alok, let me know if people are posting there, because I'm not able to see the screen.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Do you wanna go back to the cohort and talk about the server, please? Is the setup, because a lot of folks have a lot of questions on the server too. The same cohort.
Basically, you mean showing them the server, how setup and everything is done? Okay.
Oh, no, just the configuration. I mean, we have a roadmap.
Just the configuration. Yeah. Okay.
Because and then if you want to do a little show and tell about how the system works, because you're already connected.
Gives
you a very good.
We'll do that. It will be good.
Not this one.
Probably.
Scroll down a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I think I opened the wrong page. Yeah.
No, it's all good. Scroll down a little bit. Still. It's coming. Right here, right below. Yeah, below. One more. No. The bottom part. Yeah, the recommended setup. That one. Yeah, if you can please make it bigger. Yeah, if you can just explain this, that be so they will have an idea of what is the setup.
Yes. So talking about the setup, I would say to begin with, it is extremely easy. And when I say easy, it doesn't mean that it is done in a click. No, but it is easy. Why easy? Because the amount of advantage that you get out of this and the amount of time that you spend to configure this makes it easy. Okay, it is just 15 to 20 minutes of configuration. That's it. Okay. So obviously it's not done in a click, but it is done in 15-20 minutes at max. Okay, when you do it locally. And when you do it in the server, probably half an hour. That's the max time I'm talking about, because sometimes the configurations connections could be sometimes it throws some error, so you probably have to fix it immediately. So it is just a day-to-day job for the SAP basis guys. And at the server side, you don't have to worry anyways, regardless, because that is not your point of concern. Once the server is set up, you just need to integrate it with your own Claude account. So how it works is that you need to have a Claude Pro account, okay, or a Claude Team Access. So regarding Claude Pro, as Alok said, that he will be providing a couple of vouchers. I mean, basically for 2 months for free, because without Claude Pro, you cannot use the MCP server. That's the restriction given by Claude, because even there are that's a company that also wants to sell their MCP in that way, right? Because anyways they're giving MCP for free. So it's just that you need a Claude Pro account. So with a Claude Pro, you not only get the MCP for free, but you get every other reasoning context size and better models, everything you can get it for free. Okay. So for the participant, the Claude Pro access will be provided for 2 months. Okay. And Claude Pro it can be logged in from the Claude desktop and from the Claude web interface as well. However, to make the MCP connections, to create the MCP connections, you need to use the Claude desktop one. Okay. So how do you get Claude desktop? Just type Claude desktop in Google. The very first link will take you to Claude desktop, or you can type Claude desktop download. That's the keyword. The very first, the very first link will take you to the download, and I'm pretty sure that you can download that file as per your Windows or Linux or Apple devices, whatever you have, and install it. So Claude desktop is basically an installable version of Claude, which essentially means that you don't have to open a browser every time. It's just that it will be working as a software installed inside your system. Okay. So once you have this access, the setup, first we shall start with the setup locally to make you understand that how the local setup works. And you can actually access few limited things with the local setup, because obviously you're not connecting to a live environment directly in a local setup. But if you want to connect to a live environment, you need to have that configured in the server level. When I say in the server level, the connections, the processes, the steps, everything will be provided. It is something that you don't have to do. Probably your admin can do that. it is nothing. It is very simple. There's something called OData, which probably most of you will be knowing it. The OData has to be exposed, So via the OData, a variety of SAP data sets and features will be exposed, with which, and by MCP you can directly access them and use them from Claude. That is the sole concept. And how to use OData and all, I'm not going into these details right now in this first session, because that will be a overhead for you. Okay. As I said, the first 3 to 4 sessions will be based on some theory, because without that, there is no point in going ahead with this. However, I would be showing you some hands-on every single day just to show you on the progress. But if you are not clear on your concepts at the very beginning, your purpose shall not be met. It will fail. Try to understand, guys, MCP is an extremely, extremely important concept in AI world these days. Okay. Without understanding the complete concepts of MCP, if you start, your integrations and go ahead, you will not understand what you are doing, basically. Okay. So yeah, as the slide says, that you'll get a.
Do you want to do a show and tell? Show that.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, please, because a lot of people, folks here, are very excited to see what really connection is.
Great,
yeah,
great. Yeah,
I am too. Well, I've seen it, but here we go.
So, and guys, go on mute, please. And so this is where you have, this is the Claude desktop. Okay. As you know, as I said, you can use Claude from your web version also, from web browser like, Chrome or Edge or something. But for setting up the MCP, you have to download the Claude desktop. So this is how it will look like once you install Claude desktop, it will give you a ID to log in. You can use any ID that you already have, or you can connect with your Gmail account. Yeah, that's easier, because I also use my Gmail account to connect, because it straight away takes you to connects via your Gmail, and it gets connected. Okay, but I leave it to you how you connect. So once you connect, now you have this button here. Yep. So you see a lot of things. You can add files, you can add to project, skills. You have something called connectors. Okay. So if you see here, you have something called SAP Live. That's a name that we have given to the connection for, that we have established, the MCP connection, with the live Claude instance. Live SAP instance, sorry, my bad. Yeah, live SAP instance. So now, if you see here, you won't be seeing any SAP instances opened anywhere. Okay, there is no SAP instances open, trust me. Okay, so, but suppose you want to know, just a very simple query, that how many MCP connectors do you have established here? If you just put a question here. So first it will show you the connections that it has. So SAP Live will be the MCP connection that is. So I have connected Claude with Chrome. I can also connect my Gmail drive, G drive and other things. So if you see here, I can use if I go to add connectors, I can add a connector to my G drive, OneDrive, anything, OneDrive I have to check probably, but there should be some way. G drive for sure it gets connected. Calendar, since you're using Gmail for your login, so I believe all the Gmail tools, like the Google tools, you can get connected. Okay. Now, SAP Live is a custom live connector that we have established. So now, if as I said, I don't have any SAP instances open, but if you come and ask me, if my boss comes and asks me that, can you tell me what are the, or maybe I'll write it like this, can you list down top 10 invoices in that is there in the SAP instance and use MCP to derive their details. Okay. So just put this question. It will fetch all the top 10 okay, I think top 10. I probably should have mentioned top 10 in terms of invoice amount, but I think it got it actually. It is intelligent, it got it. I probably should have written the prompt in such a way the top 10 invoices that has the highest invoice amount, but it understood it anyways. So these are the
There is another thing I want to add here. I know you are not showing that, but that's okay. Everyone here, please download Whisper Flow so you don't have to type. You can just talk. You can show that.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can use Whisper Flow. I was just trying to show them the the prompt correctly. So yeah. So this is how you have it. Okay. So now, if I say that, do you have any invoices to? Sorry. Okay, maybe I'll use Whisper Flow here. Do you have any invoices that are blocked or in stuck status? Okay, so it will search. And this search is going into the SAP instance, okay? If you see the result, it says that it is derived from the MCP SAP Live connector, okay? It's not hallucinating, it's not generating from any kind of a sample or test data, okay? It is not hallucinating here. These are real data that is connected with the SAP instance, okay? So when I say this, do you have any invoices that are blocked? So I understand that there are thousands of invoices. So it will take some time to run this, but I want to show you that some prompts that you can probably give, and you can get these results. Okay.
While giving the result, and a quick question: what if my organization has two different SAP instances, and it has to go and then identify them?
You can attach two connectors. That's it.
But your question is only associated with one connector, or can it identify that I have to search on both?
Because I have only one connector established, right? If there was SAP Live 1 or SAP Live 2, the tool is so intelligent that it would have probably asked me, what is it? Oh, sorry, it's a poll. The tool probably would have asked me that I have two connectors established, SAP Live 1 and SAP Live 2. Which one would you like me to, search?
No, but my use case is, you have to go and search in both the instances. I have R3 instance and I have S4 instance, and I want to identify both. So at a time,
so tell me a question. Tell me what exactly you want to search. I will do it for you. Tell me.
Let's say an accounting document. I might have it in both 3 system and S4 system because both are live in my organization. Okay.
Okay.
And I want to analyze both in R3 and S4. Right. Let's say you gave which is blocked, right? So there is an open item, open AR.
Yes.
I would like to see if it is.
The first thing you have to do is you have to establish both the connection or multiple, whatever, how much ever instance you want to connect, you can do it. Okay. Once you establish this connection, you just simply write this prompt that I want this from this and this from that. It will fetch you.
Okay.
Simple.
Okay. So one connection is always with one instance. Okay.
No. It is not with. See, it is not with one instance. I have done it with one instance just because this is a demo class, right? I cannot have, understand, guys. Having a live SAP instance is not given for free. It is chargeable. SAP charges heavily for this. So we cannot have a leverage of adding 5 or 6 instances and showing it just for demo. No, it is not possible. But you can definitely do that. Even you can do it with 1, you can then do it with 10 also. There's no problem. It's just that you have to follow the same steps and you have to establish that SAP Live 1 to 10, whatever connection you want to establish that connection. In your prompt, you mention that I want to, get this from this instance, this from this, and this from this. That's it. And you want to analyze them. You want to compare them. You want to see what is there, and it will fetch you everything. This is an extremely intelligent tool, guys. It thinks way better than you, but you just need to direct and orchestrate it according, as per the need. So there are three canceled invoices. Okay, two cancelled and one stuck in accounting transfer. Understand, these are, this is a demo instance and it has some test data. Okay, this is live data, but test, as in it is not a data from a production environment of any particular company. No, we cannot show you the data here, right? For obvious purposes.
May I ask one question, please?
Yeah, please.
Okay, on the same line, I'm just wondering that exactly the same prompt and the same outcome can also be derived from existing Joule as well. So what's the differentiator which we have here by using Claude?
Yes. So Joule is a co-pilot, as I said. So it can get it that way also. But can Joule do everything that Claude can? No. It cannot do the reasoning part. It cannot make strategies based on your. Suppose you put a question. Can you put a question to Joule? Say that 30% of my invoices are getting cancelled in every batch, and 20% are getting stuck in accounting transfer, and 20% and 15% are pending in every batch that we are getting. So would you be able to devise a perfect strategy that how we should proceed in this way, in this situation, and what would be the best practice that we should adopt to ensure that we have the invoices getting approved as quick as possible without getting stuck or being on pending or getting stuck? Just do this prompt. You just write this prompt to your Joule instance. You will get your answer. Joule will not be able to give you a very reasonable answer for this, but Claude will. Claude will give you that answer because it is backed by the power of the Claude LLM. Okay.
So basically, we're using LLM to get this data.
I am not getting a question. What is it?
So this query data is being basically, we have a built-in LLM which we are using it directly, right? Is that what is going on behind the scenes?
That is what I'm still not getting you. Can you just repeat once again, please?
No, we are using an LLM behind the scene, right? For this one to get the invoices.
We are using LLM connected via MCP.
Oh.
So you can use any LLM and any backend, like you are connected to SAP. So try to understand how your prompting engine is your Claude at this point. And Claude is where you're prompting, but your Claude is connected to your SAP through your MCP. Okay. That is the whole purpose of this whole thing, the training itself. So that's when you get all the data. Now, a lot of you folks have asked, how is it going to help me in my own company or my own organization? We already explained that. That doesn't matter to us. Why? Because this is a knowledge for you. If your company uses it, great. If it doesn't, in the future, they have to. There is no not going to use it in the future. Not going to happen because other competitors are using it. So as you can see, just by one sentence on WhisperFlow, just by talking to your system, you can get whatever you from SAP. And at the same time, it's so easy to, you don't even have to connect to your SAP system. So, yes.
So I have a question here.
Look, I have a question here.
Yeah, please. What's your name, sir?
It's Orpheus. I'm just having a question here about the commenting. The distinction between Joule and ChatGPT, that ChatGPT, Claude. My understanding is that Joule is SAP Copilot layer as we know it, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing here. And right now, what you're doing, that within the context of overall SAP modeling or application, how they have it set up right now, they're promoting for as part of their cloud application primarily.
Right.
We know that. You know that SAP at Sapphire just giving companies incentive to pretty much just give them access if they sign up with Joule, and even though they're in S/4HANA and they get to the cloud by a certain time, they'll give them that. I get that. So my question regarding this class here right now, what you're doing now, is it's not Joule per se. It's going to be basically Claude. Isn't Claude in essence going to be part of the foundation of what SAP is trying to bring forward in the cloud environment? Right. Then the question, why? I mean, I'm just trying to see what are the use cases I could use in the meantime for clients who are not on the cloud. So are you saying that then immediately now, or after this class, we can start using some of what we learned and take it back to clients or customers or a company to start show them, okay, fine, these are some of the ways you can get quick wins using Claude. Is that the whole objective, one of the objectives of this class? That's correct.
This is one of the objective, but not the only one, Orpheus.
Okay.
The point is, once this, I mean, if you go through the training structure once again, once you go through that, there is a immense amount of knowledge that you will be getting. It is not only for projecting it to your client to kind of push them or use asking them making use of this. It is also for your own benefit, that for every single integration that you want to do even with non-SAP instances also, you have the power to use MCP and connect those instances to Claude directly, with governance, of course, with guardrails, of course, but getting the same benefit of the power of a Claude LLM into your application.
Okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. So in other words, so for those, so let's say you have a customer right now. You know what? I just spend a lot of money on S4 Central Finance. I'm not ready to go to the cloud yet. You're saying, sorry, not ready to go to the cloud, as in where SAP is pushing for Joule and all this stuff. You're saying, okay, you know what? While you're waiting to do that transition later on, because you have all this investment in Essential Finance, and I don't want to spend the money now to go back and go in the cloud and spend all these fees with SAP, I can basically, these are some of the instances you could use Claude to basically do, not necessarily what Joule will do, as you said, but something that can use AI to basically help them with their business process.
This can complement what the Joule.
Yeah.
That's number one. And two is, think about SAP, right? You have in SAP world, people normally program in ABAP, right? But you also do Fiori as well. But how many know what's the language you have Fiori? It's UI5, right? That's the language you use. But the cloud version of UI5 is actually React or Node.js and stuff like that. There are lots of developers who learn Node.js programming, Java programming, Python programming, who do not know SAP, right? So what we're seeing is there's a lot of cloud developers around the world, or people who use cloud, but they do not know SAP. This course, I feel, from my personal thing, is you are all SAP professions. You may be a PM, you may be a functional consultant, you may be a technical developer or basis architect. If you know cloud, you are actually adding an additional skill on yourself, that you now know cloud and you know SAP, which just enhances your skill set. And to answer your question correctly, yes, you can connect this to your central finance, provided your client or your company agrees to do that within a guardrail, and you can get a Joule or a better than Joule experience with cloud directly. That's the first point. Second point is SAP is going to provide cloud as part of their Joule offering for reasoning. But then the point is that what Joule is giving you is a chatbot-like experience, an assistant in the front, which is then calling Claude back. It's making life easy. Just like when you work in SAP, you just work on a GUI, you don't worry about a terminal. Here you'll be working on a terminal, doing a lot of plumbing yourself. That's the only difference. But the result that you'll get will be you're getting the result now. You're not having to wait for result, wait to get the same result unless you move to RISE. You get the result up front. And then eventually you'll go to RISE not because SAP is pushing you to RISE. You're going to RISE because out of the box, you'll get a lot more features which you will otherwise have to build. So that's the trade-off.
Gotcha. No, I that's what I was thinking. I just want to make sure I was thinking in along that line, because I do have a lot of customers who are asking about AI. We're helping with it. Right now, we're helping them with a lot of transformation program, and they're somewhat skeptical about SAP RISE and so forth. So this is good. What's your name, sir?
My name is Dev Raj Bardhan.
Hey, Devraj, thanks, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So what I'll do right now is, Deep, if you want to unshare your screen, Devraj, thank you so much. But we'll take some more questions for you, Devraj. I will share my screen and talk a little bit about the program and the LMS and everything. I know I have covered this before, but I'll cover one more time because a lot of people are asking that question. So, but in the meantime, you can always ask the question, Devraj, do you want to stay here for a little bit so we can take some questions?
Yeah, I'm around. I'll just chip in whenever required. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, okay. So if you can see my screen, please say some, and then I'll proceed. Hello?
Yeah,
can you guys see my screen? Okay, awesome. Okay. So when you sign up with us, I'm going to cover this quick, okay? When you sign up with us, you're going to get access to a learning management system, which is going to look this is the learning management system you're going to get access to. You can access this from any device as long as you're logged into your Gmail. Your server access is right here. It'll be connected straight to your lab environment, and you can raise your tickets. This is the environment setup, like we were showing you. This is the whole architecture. Your discussion board is just like a Slack channel. You can post your questions here. Curriculum, again, we've already talked about it. I'll come to the material and video recording section. And a lot of folks are asking this. For those of you who attended the demo session, we did live demo session on 7th, here is a recording. Every session is always recorded on our platform. And one more thing on our platform is everything is online. We do not allow any download access. So if you're wondering where can I get download, not on our platform. Materials are right here. I'll come there. Meeting links. You have the 13th meeting link, 14th meeting link. Attendance is again very important. Some folks asked us how many students are registered. As of now, as of this morning, we had about 20 plus folks registered, and then we have another 30 people interested. So we have a couple other batches in line. Student details are mentioned here. You fill it out. This will help the. Give me 1 second.
5 minutes.
Can you mute yourself, please? Okay. So we have all the student details. So this gives a idea to the trainer as to what the student is, where the student is, so they can help them, right? Okay. Now, here is the material section. You will have full access to this. You can always view it. You can always come to it. So we build all our materials in-house, as you can see, just giving you an idea. All of this stuff. Then your assessment documents are built in-house. You will also have access to the lab material. Again, some of you guys have asked, what is the comparable course anywhere else? No one has this. We are the only one who has this course. And another course we are launching here very soon is AI for MM consultants, AI for SD consultants, AI for finance consultants, AI for EWM, and we are launching another one, AI for SAP consultants with Copilot specifically. We are launching that too. There are a lot of AI courses we are launching. We have about 25 plus SAP and AI courses. And outside of AI, non-SAP, we have about 40 different courses we are launching. And for AI for leadership, if folks here are in the leadership role, we have about 20 courses we are launching, all in combination with all the universities in the US. So this is the lab. So this is how the training actually runs. All your materials are right here. As you can see, module 1, 2, 3, 4, everything's right here.
What sets ZaranTech apart in SAP corporate training? It's our unique blend of expertise and innovation. We offer customized courses tailored to each client's needs, ensuring relevant, targeted learning. Our vast trainer database brings you wisdom from the best in the field. Need resources? Access our extensive training material repository anytime. We are all about measurable results, providing detailed student metrics to track progress. And we don't just teach, we build community. Join our thriving social media network, connecting learners beyond boundaries. With ZaranTech, you are not just training, you are transforming your SAP expertise.
So for those of you who are wondering how the LMS works, what access do you get, all that setup, which I was talking about here, give me 1 second, will be done by us for you. All you have to do is have a Claude Pro account because it's good to have on your own Gmail, and then we get you the voucher for 2 months. So because this training runs for 2 months, but after that you can surely extend your Claude Pro subscription and keep it connected and go with that. But currently, some of you guys asked us, what is the backend? Right now, we are using on-prem S4. All right. So if you have any questions, please post the questions or ask me anything.
Yeah. Some time ago, you just said that you have upcoming courses for AI, for SD or MM or something like that. But are there any courses for SAC and DataSphere coming up?
Not AI, no, not yet. But it's all in work in progress. So yes, we can only launch so many courses. I mean, one more course we are launching is for SAP Consultants. Yes, sorry, I forgot that.
Okay.
So to answer your question, not yet, but we will. Yes.
Okay. So is there anything where I can register and once it is launched, I get a notification or an email or something like that? Because I would be interested more towards DataSphere and Antics Cloud. While this course is very vast and it has more focus on functional consultants, I think that would be great if I can.
Yeah. Just send an email to sales@ZaranTech and we'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hello,
okay. I'll go through this. Okay.
Okay. Alok, is there any courses launching for SAP BTP and CPA or security, this kind of thing with AI integrations?
The ones I mentioned are the ones we are launching right now. Maybe in the future, yes, we will. But these are the courses because we can only launch so many courses, and these courses are very, very deep. I mean, they're going to go deep. So I can also share with you guys. Support team and Abhigan, if you can share some of the cohorts, that'd be great for MM or.
I will, Alok. Sure, I'll do that in the chat window.
But again, for the BTP side, we can just send us an email to sales@ZaranTech. We can surely share all the information.
Yeah, sure, Alok. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go with the hands raised. Ashwini Kumar, please ask a question if you have any.
Yeah. Hello, Vishal Ashwini here. So, being a project manager for, say, technical service manager or a CDM, how does this AI or cloud will help me to handle this greenfield and brownfield implementation if I'm handling multiple customers and accounts? How does this going to help me to ease my work, or how can it make me more productive?
Yeah. So go ahead, David.
See, again, you're giving a very specific use case, right? I again urge you to first learn how the basics work, because without understanding the basics, I don't think, use case. We should not go to. Did you ask for use case? Hey, why am I learning ABAP? What is the use case? You never asked that question. You learned ABAP because you knew that once you learn ABAP, you could go to SAP job. If you're a financial accounting person, you went and learned SAP Finance first, not asking, hey, what can I do with it? Because once you did SAP Finance, you got a SAP Finance job, right? So my urge to you is understand how cloud works, because once you understand that, then most of your questions you'll get an answer on your own. Right now, I think the problem is that you're trying to find use cases for AI when you don't even know. It's like saying, I want to go on a long drive, but I don't even own a car. I don't even know how to drive a car. I don't even have a license. How will you go on a long drive?
I got it. But the thing is that, for example, the basics are clear. We have already, for example, I use Claude Code and made a couple of applications over there. So basics and all things are there. But I just want to know, how does it going to help me for my day-to-day work, being a SAP consultant or a basis, or let's say an architect?
So once you have set up Cloud Code and you've set up MCPs, if you have a problem with SAP, what do? You go to Google and search, correct? You could maybe go to Cloud Code and search with MCPs to get better answers. That's the first question. First thing. Secondly, Deep is going to take you through how to create function spec, text specs, requirements, all of that. He'll also probably tell you that if you have to write a report in cloud, how to not write a report, but basically chat with cloud and get a report out. So those are the use cases you can think about.
Okay.
As a base, and then how does Copilot help you in a day work? How does ChatGPT help you in a day work? Convert that to cloud pointed to SAP. How can it help you in a day work as well in SAP? For example, if you get an email saying, please create a user ID for me, or please give me additional authorization because I'm missing a certain authorization, what do? You read the email and then you log into SAP system and basically do that work. Cloud Code could do for you if you have an agent set up for it. Example. Second thing is, if you are getting in an email with invoice, what do? You extract invoice, you upload invoice to a tool or to a SharePoint, and then a batch job runs. The batch job extracts the information, loads it to SAP. You get errors. The workflow goes to somebody who then fixes the errors, and then the invoice gets posted. Cloud Code could basically read the email, do the corrections, extract information, post the invoice, and let you know that the invoice came in, it got processed, no action required, or the invoice got stuck, and then here's the errors I found. This is the fix I can do. Please approve, and I'll do it, because Cloud Code can hallucinate, can make mistakes. Your financial systems and procurement systems cannot hallucinate, so you have to have a proper, reason, not a probabilistic answer, right? So maybe those are the use cases that I can easily talk to you about.
And couple more I want to add is, one more is like, take a support ticket to Claude, creates RCA, root cause hypothesis, all of that stuff. You can in fact take your ABAP code and Claude explains the business logic and performance issues. You can also take your messy requirement notes info to Claude, and Claude will generate a functional spec or a BRD for you in less than 30 seconds. So the use case we can all come up with use cases. You can build test cases with Claude. So there's so much you can do, but you have to understand this. It's the governance which will matter. Oh, there is another course we are launching. Sorry, Devraj. This is after you gave me that idea. We are launching. I talked to a lot of folks, and we are covering a huge, big course on governance. We are going to cover SAP governance a little bit, but we're going to cover about a lot of other governance with AI. So we are launching that course, and we've already got a huge amount of interest in that course. So thank you. Yeah. Go ahead. One more person has a question. Let me go to the next person. And for folks
Yeah. So I as a SAP SD functional consultant, do we require any prerequisite we have basic coding knowledge about ABAP, but any other things, coding or interfaces, do we require that knowledge for this course? And second question is not required, right? Means we can enroll and we can get, means there is no basic prerequisite things are required, right?
No, you just have to be a consultant.
Yeah, okay. Second question is, as we are talking about billing document and those error, I'm a 13 years experience. I'm an architect right now in SAP SDMM. So these are the sensitive information for any organization, like billing information, those prices, sometimes they are not giving those access to many consultants as well to look into that information. So how they are ready to give open to give that information to cloud. It is an open platform, and the security question will come, how client will be ready when we showcase their vital data. Client will be ready.
Very, very good question. Please.
First thing is, you need to understand how cloud works and learn, which anyway you're doing as a part of the course in a sandbox in a very safe environment. When it comes to your client or the customer, and they are having doubts about it, if your client buys a Cloud Pro license or a cloud agreement, then the data will remain within your VPN, within your firewall, and will not be gone outside to train. So that's one. Two is, I'm pretty sure if you are already on internet and using Ariba, SuccessFactors, you already have a lot of data on the internet, right? So then, unless you say I'm completely on premise and I'm completely firewalled from the internet, I don't have anything on the internet, that's a different story. If that's not a story, and you're already in the cloud and you're already using cloud services, cloud as in CLOUD, then you can use any of the APIs as well, and through commercial license or through enterprise license, the data will always be secure. So that's not the real problem. The problem comes is who has access to it, and therefore it all talks about governance and setup. So we're doing a POC and proving it on a sandbox is easy. It's a one-day job. Taking to production, can be 3, 4, 5, even 6 months long because it needs a lot of approvals and you have to work through it and you learn through it. But again, the main problem that everyone's having is it safe and secure? The answer is yes, but you have to make it safe and secure, right? It's not going to be safe and secure out of the box. You have to put the guardrails in and you have to make sure that cloud is working the way you want it to work within an organization, which means you as the consultant or a developer or functional person will have to put the guardrails in. Okay, so that is the main thing. You have to build the guardrails, and I think Deep might cover some of these guardrails and what you need to do to make this secure for yourself. In the next 7 to 8 weeks, you should learn that bit as well.
Yeah, and we have a section. We do have a section. Sorry, I'll cover that here quick.
I think I can. Hello, if you just allow me a couple of minutes. So Deep here. So how you want to set up, plan to set up the governance. Nobody will tell you how you do the governance, guys. You have to understand this fact. Okay, every use case is different. So you need to know the industry standards, how governance is done, what are the risk mitigation standards that people follow in the industry, and what pertains to your particular your use case or your work per se. Okay, so having said that, it is you who would define the acceptable scope, the roles, the kind of output, the source boundaries. You have to tell AI how to ignore the conflicting instructions from untrusted content. You have to reinforce the privacy, compliance, and validation expectations consistently. Without this, you cannot achieve. Basically, you have to have some input filtering controls, output filtering controls. Least privilege is one of the key things that you should provide to the AI tools. I mean, this is an AI tool. It's a highly intelligent tool. You cannot expose every single, you cannot expose your bank details, your passwords, your ID to ChatGPT or Claude, right? You'll never do that by common sense. Similarly, using that same sense, you should not expose anything that is deemed to be confidential. Okay, so the least privilege AI, is to be provided to the AI tools. Give only the required tools, roles, and data access. Avoid any kind of broad permissions or, basically have a proper identity access management process in place. Should not, you have to restrict some agentic workflows at places where they are not needed. You have to be very, very careful about sensitive delivery environments. You have to, segregate your user roles in terms of, they actually, the work they actually do. You should not give admin access to everybody. So all these things are the guardrails that you will be putting, in your work, which I think we'll be anyways teaching you in, I think, module 8 or 9, if I'm not wrong. We can check 7. Check the curriculum. Yeah, sorry, 7 maybe. Yeah. So having said that, I think this is a very good question. So when you use the enterprise version of any AI from your company, your data stays on premises, as Devra just said. So it is an agreement between your company and the service provider that they give you the leverage to use the powerful neural networks that is configured within this LLMs. However, use your company's data, but the data stay within the premises. It doesn't go out. It doesn't go out for training the model, etc. Okay, so these are some things which you should know. What is the difference between an enterprise AI contract and a normal AI tool that you are using? Okay, so all these things will also be taught as a part of this program. Okay, so I tried to be as simple as possible in this explanation, but does this answer your question, whoever asked this?
Yeah, I got the detail, basically.
Okay,
awesome. Okay. Let's go to some other hands raised.
I have a quick question. Let's see about is Claude have the access to SAP to fix the errors by itself, or just give us the solution steps and we could implement the steps on SAP?
Oh, very, very good question.
Very good question.
Very good question. This is one of the I think one of the best questions of the day. So I would tell you, okay. So as yet, the technology that we are using here is basically we are creating a client JavaScript to, or maybe we're using a function called axios.get. These are some technical terms that we are using to configure the SAP, to configure the MCP with the SAP server. Okay. So currently the SAP OData does not support any kind of create, update, delete, or, put, patch, delete kind of thing. So what it does is as yet, it can read the data, detect the anomalies, diagnose the root cause, and sends it out to you, as I was showing you in the chat, right? In the Claude screen when I was showing you. So that is achieved by MCP. But okay, and along with that, you can also get the precise correction steps, proposed changes that you need to do, which code needs to be modified, and what in the code should be modified. All these things would use the Claude's intelligence and will be given to you in the same chat itself. Okay. Now, to execute these changes in SAP, that has to be a human as of where we stand here at this moment, at this juncture. It is the human's job to execute the suggested changes from Claude, that from the Claude MCP Connect, what you have got from the Claude chat, the suggestions, the steps that you have got, you have to execute that manually. Okay. And obviously, when you do that, you should be doing it under guardrails, change controls, authorizations, etc. But trust me, if we can still have let me put it like this. There will be a day very soon where this will also not be a human dependent thing. But I would still say till that time, we need to improve our models so much that there are no chances of any errors, because as yet, we still have generative AI and agentic AI. We still don't have a public deployment of AGI, which is the artificial general intelligence, which actually matches the human intelligence. And there are plans of launching the SI, which is the super intelligence, basically ASI, what do you call it? Artificial super intelligence, when it will supersede the humans' thinking capability, logical capability. So basically to supersede humans in every respect. So that is the day that is projected for the future. But the next step, what is in the AI world is the AGI that is coming in, which is probably, Meta and all are doing analysis, and probably within 2027 or 2028, it should be there, at least in some kind of form. So when that is there, maybe this intervention, what you just talked about, which is done by a human right now, might not be done by a human completely, or maybe the human aspect will be reduced to a great extent. Maybe just pressing the button will remain for a human just to review and do that. But every other changes will be done by the AI itself. But as yet, at this juncture, no, it is not possible. You only get suggestions, recommendations, and perfect fixes step by step. Only you need to execute that. Does that answer your question?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you for full answers.
In fact, I just want to add something. See, I personally have connected my Gmail with Hermes AI agent and I run it on a virtual server. Literally in the morning, since I have given permission to Claude through the Hermes agent to do this, it can reply on my behalf to emails without me even touching a button. So in the morning, I've given a condition. If an email is from this or this people or this condition, it replies automatically because all the permissions are already given. And it runs 24/7 because it's running on a server. 24/7. The computer's on 24/7. The agent's on 24/7. It literally reads my email, replies because of the permission I've given. So that's what we are talking about, governance. Not yet. It has not come to SAP yet, but that's the near future. Yes. All right. Let's take another question. Orpheus. Oh, your hand is still raised. Go ahead.
A good question here. This is a very simple question. Going back to the Claude licenses Pro, do you know if Claude Pro is available for government entities as well, or non-regulated industries? The reason I'm asking, I have a client who's somewhat a government entity unregulated. And I'm thinking about possibly some of these things that we're talking about beyond more is to introduce it to them to start using it. So do you know that? Maybe that's the question for Deborah.
I mean, without any guardrails, I don't think any government agency would use it. So if you want guardrails, you have to use enterprise version because that's where most of the control is.
Sorry, I meant enterprise, not pro. Sorry, enterprise.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
My apologies.
I don't know.
See, I tell you, Orpheus. Yeah. So any enterprise version of an AI tool will take care of few things. First of all, as I said, the data stay on premises. It doesn't go out. The data, it is not going to be training the model. Okay. So all these things are not done, which essentially means that the guardrails are applied. However, it still follows the standards from country to country. Like Europe has GDPR, US has HIPAA, India has DPDP. There are so many other standards that you have. Okay, the data protection rules and regulations that you have. So every enterprise AI, once you take a license from a company, be it from any service provider for a company, maybe it could be a private company or a government company. Basically all the local restrictions, the data protection rules, regulations, everything is inculcated in that, and it's regional, of course. Okay, so having said that, government companies will obviously, do a due diligence in verifying that these things are there in the part of contract or not. And obviously they will be there because that is their, that is their forte. They will be very clear. The service providers will be very clear, showing the companies that this is what the enterprise licenses provide, and this is how your data becomes safe. So for sure, there will be no such issues as such. However, as it is being always said, your security it should be paramount to your own stuff. So you should be aware of what you are exposing, what you are doing, what you are not. So which means that even if there are all guardrails and everything in place, it is a better practice to always have, the AI governance is followed by an individual also, so that it remains doubly secured in this way from the enterprise version as well as from the individual. Hope that answers.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I mean, honestly, I wasn't going to take this class, but I think it complements what I'm doing and the trajectory that I'm in. So thank you so much. It's giving me a lot of.
And talking in that way, Orpheus, I think that this brings a very interesting topic that, AI. So with the adoption, with the industry adoption of AI that is going on these days, and the kind of volume and the scale that we are progressing, I would believe AI governance is something that is extremely important in the next 1 or 2 years, because very soon you'll realize without governance, many companies, I will say, probably a huge number of companies will have their data exposed to AI, leading to a lot of problems. Okay. And then they will realize how important governance was actually, which they probably didn't follow. And this is why I think AI governance is something which should always be on priority. And how to implement AI governance, what is AI governance, how do you as an individual contribute towards that, what are the things to learn in that. I think we probably can have a structural course later on, but for sure this is something every single individual, whether they are using enterprise licenses, normal licenses, casually browsing through, AI portals, everybody should have an idea, because that is becoming a standard these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure. Thank you.
Let's take a couple more questions.
So, in demo session, and we were seeing incoming invoices analysis with Claude while we were prompting it. So suppose we need to analyze, say, costing or some other area in finance or say MM. Is there any separate setup needed, or is there any change in OData or something needed?
Yes. So basically, this is where governance comes in. You dictate the terms, what data you want to expose to Claude, what data you don't want to. It is not that establishing an MCP server simply will expose every single bits and pieces of information from your SAP systems into Claude. No. Control is yours. You can actually expose every single bit of information from SAP. However, that is not an advisable thing. You only expose things that are needed. So whether you need some MM or you need some any other modules, FICO or any for that matter, it is up to you how you set up the OData. See, setting up the OData and this configuration is the least of the problems. The problem is the concept that you should be aware that the control should be in your hand. If you can expose it for your invoices, you can do it for every single thing in your SAP system. Does this clarify?
Yeah, that clarifies. Thanks.
Awesome.
And I would like to ask a question like how this course will be helpful for SAP CPI consultant or an integration consultant.
So I will take this question. Yeah. Can you just repeat, please? Yeah, I actually was.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how this course will be helpful for an CPI or an integration consultant?
What is the regular work that you do in your daily life? If you can list out a few, I can tell you how you will be benefited.
I'm a CPI consultant.
No, you are a CPI consultant. I'm an enterprise architect.
Yes,
so our work will be different. But the point is, what work do you literally do? You can tell me a few things that you do. I can tell you how you can.
That it's a cloud platform integration, which is BTP.
Yeah, I will be integrating on-premise and cloud systems.
Yeah, like MCP. He works on similar to MCP in SAP.
Yes.
No, I didn't get you. Sorry, what is it? Because there were two people talking. I couldn't make out. Can somebody summarize what exactly? Maybe just take top 3 things that you do in your daily work.
I will be integrating 2 different systems. Say, suppose on-premise to cloud, or cloud to cloud, or on-premise to on-premise. So basically, I'll be working on a middleware tool.
Yes. So you will be following some steps to do the configurations and setting up and making that integrations to happen, I believe.
Yes.
That job is no more needed, honestly. That will be done by Claude.
Okay. But this CPI is a new technology in SAP, I guess. Not I guess.
Yes. No, CPI will be gone soon.
No, new. So guys, we are discussing something which is not okay. So try to understand. Yeah, guys. Yeah. You can do anything that you want, but it depends on what you want. Okay. Your server. Okay. So just try to understand a thing. Okay. I am a neighbor to you. Okay. And our houses are 10 feet apart. Okay. Now I connect a staircase from my window to your window. Okay. And you leave your window open. I leave my window open. So I can easily, walk through those stairs and enter into your house. Now, whether it depends on me, or depends on you rather, that you want to expose your bedroom or your hall or your kitchen to me. It depends. If you want to expose everything, I can have access to everything. If you do not want me to restrict me to your bedroom and your washroom, perhaps you can close the doors and I can access the rest of it. That is as simple as this.
I mean, anything and everything you do as a CPI consultant,
you can actually do it here.
Yeah, this course can help you with like integration flow design, mapping logic, API documentation, test payloads. There's so many things, error analysis. I mean, there's, the summarization of logs. There's so many things. Listing out what you do can be done. Again, it all depends on the governance. What you have, why the analogy, what the trainer is giving is, it depends on what you open, what Claude has access to, it can. And again, that is the chapter number 7 we concentrate on, is governance. And that is not decided by you. That's decided by your decision makers in your company as to what they're going to open up and then what data can be accessed
exposed to Claude. Yeah. What data is going to be exposed to Claude. Yeah.
Hi, I'm going to change I'm switching the gear here to the capstone project. Can you tell us about the project? What are the goals? What is the structure? My question here is that we have people of diverse background here. You have consultant, you have technical functional consultant. How are you going to tailor the capstone to the point that it benefits each and every one of us so that each of us can come out with something that can be helpful in their respective field? Can you talk about that?
Michelle, at this juncture in this AI world, every single person, whether he's an architect or a consultant or a developer or maybe a project manager, everybody needs to understand one thing, that there is one kind of literacy that is absolutely needed, that is called AI generalist. What I mean by an AI generalist is that you might not be the master in AI for every aspect, but you have definitely, you're one of the, I would say, leading. You have to become one of the leading persons who knows how AI works and what AI could be best used for which use case. So a generalist role is something like, it is kind of a role that empowers you to know a lot about AI, but might not make you a master in a particular area, because there is no need to become a master these days. Reason because the AI landscape is evolving so fast. What you might be mastering might not be useful after 2 years. So the best way is to keep up the pace with AI. So the course, the capstone projects are designed in such a way that regardless of your, or maybe irrespective of your background or the kind of work you do, being a consultant or an architect or a project manager, team lead, tech lead, be it whatever, every person should be aware of so this course is going to empower you and to enable you in, make you in such a I mean, basically we would empower you in such ways that you should be able to see yourself as a AI generalist after this course, and you should be able to do the capstone, which is more focused and more,
just more general, you mean?
Sorry?
Which is more general. It's not going to be
general,
focused
and yeah, it is not specifically for a consultant or architect per se. Okay, it is more into clearing your concepts about AI, and trust me, you don't need to become master in every AI. It is not needed, because the dynamics are changing so fast. If you become a master of something, as I said, it might not be there after 2 to 3 years. So yeah,
I understand. That answers my question. Thank you.
Yeah. Basically, the course is for an SAP consultant, not for a specific SAP consultant, because it is used. That's why we are teaching the concepts of like how the cloud fundamentals work, and we'll use some use cases, for FI, MMS, DBP, HCM, and all those scenarios we'll use. We'll also jump into the section, which is number 4, is specifically for ABAP. The use cases for ABAP are very good. I mean, much better. And then, how MCP and SAP actually integrate. So the concepts are, and the governance. Number 7 is the most important. I mean, I think, this is my personal opinion, governance is going to be the most highly paid job in the coming future. Any AI job role, So this is going to be the most important. So after this course, what happens? You take that course, the certificate you get, and the knowledge you get, and put that on your resume. Let your managers know that you know this. When they do go to that direction, who do you think they're going to contact first? You, because you have that knowledge. So that's where we're leading up to that course, with this course, leading you to that point. All right. Okay. Let's go to some other questions. Are you going to be here, Deep, or you're dropping off?
I can be there for another 5 minutes, maybe. I think I have to.
All right. So we've got, yeah.
Okay. So, hi, this is pretty much interested the topic that we are discussing now. So maybe my question is been answered somehow, but I want to be more specific in my case. So basically, I'm a functional consultant. Okay. So for functional modules. So using this Claude MCP, so let me put my real case. We are extracting the exchange rates from a third-party website, or we are integrating third-party tool, expenses tool, and the interface, the posting to SAP. So will it maybe using the middleware tools like BTP or WorkAuto and so on. So will this Claude and MCP can replace that?
Sir, let me ask you in this way. What are the top 3 challenges or difficulties that you face in your daily work? Let's talk in that manner. It will be easy for me to understand.
Okay, so for third-party tools, as a functional consultants, like we may not have a visibility what is going on, though they are within the organization. Okay, so we do not know what the users have.
Just tell me the top 3 challenges that you have. That okay, this is what I'm doing, and this is the challenge. Can you tell it and frame it in this word, this manner?
Okay,
because
so
at a very first point, you have to know what is your problem. Then only you can come for a solution, right?
So I want to resolve my issue when I face that accounting entry or some functional module related specific transaction that got failed via interface.
Yes. This use case is covered in this course and very well covered, and this is going to be resolved by Claude.
Okay, so somehow like you know right, like for functional consultant, like we normally deal with the banks, the interface payments, all those stuff. Will it replace?
Yes. Replace what?
You know right, like we encrypt and decrypt the files, the payment files from the third party systems.
Suresh.
Yeah. Okay.
Think in this manner, please. Okay. As I said, what is your problem that you face? Top 3 problems that you face. Can you tell me that? Replacing bank and all, these are we are going out of context. Can you tell me what is the problem that you really feel that needs a lot of your time? And I can tell you whether Claude, this course can help you in solving that or not.
Okay, so now I got you what you mean, like when you're asking me this question. So the Claude and MCP will help us only to resolve the issues like what we are facing in the live day-to-day regular activities when we give the prompts. So not like we are using the BTP now. So it is not useful as BTP, the Claude and MCP.
I still repeat my same question. What is the top 3 challenges that you face in your day-to-day work?
Okay,
and please, this is the last time, because there are other people waiting. And can you please be precise in your question?
This is Srikanth. Since Deep is going to be gone for 5 minutes, I just want to raise a quick question. It'll not take much time. Okay, is this course a kind of a prerequisite for any other functional AI courses? Say, for example, you said the SAP AI with EWM. Is this course going to be giving a foundation for
No. It is not. It is not.
It is not.
It is not a prerequisite thing. It is a course for your own knowledge.
Okay, so when you say SAP AI with EWM, is it also like a Claude and MCP on that specific module?
No. How you use AI? That's a totally different course. We can send you the curriculum, but let's stay on this course. This is a course.
They're basically independent.
Yeah, they're totally independent. AI, how you can use AI for all those different modules, very specific.
Very specific. Okay.
Yeah, very specific. Yes.
All right. Good. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Let's take Deep. If you're available, we'll take one more question and we'll call it off.
Yeah. Let's take one last question.
Can I speak?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So my question is very simple. I saw there is an AI implementation in SAP project. Does it mean can we have an ability to implement AI agents and utilize them in the project? Just like can we create AI agents using Claude and then we can leverage these projects?
You can create AI agents in Claude. There is no problem in doing that. But again, guys, just think in this manner. You are learning this course to get some knowledge, first of all, and also your top priorities in your day-to-day work should get resolved. That is the objective. So you have to list out the top 3 challenges or top 3 time-consuming activities that you daily do. And I can tell you that how Claude, or with not how will be a big thing, but whether this course is going to help you or whether Claude integration with MCP is going to help you in doing that. So Sai, can you please list out those 3, or maybe let's say only 1 or 2 maybe for that matter?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an ABAP developer. I just need this to leverage the AI capabilities and answer my questions in day-to-day life.
Yeah, I mean, you can do the code review. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, you can do that. You can. I mean, basically, Claude has a very powerful mechanism of creating agents. So definitely, you can do that.
But then again, AI agents can only run if your governance is set to run all of that.
Exactly. You should not given. Yeah, you should not given access to an agent to delete your entire database. It should not be like that.
Yeah.
So the control is in your hands, and every single bit of piece of work that you do in your everyday's job can actually be done by Claude to certain extent or full extent, depending on you, how you configure it. But I would still say always have at least 10 to 20% of human in the loop intervention. Do not try to automate every single thing, because this thing should always be there till the time we are extensively sure that, I mean, we are absolutely sure that one AI has the capability to every single thing on this earth, which is not, we are not yet in that maturity as of now. Okay. So, yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for coming. I think we'll call it off here. And if you guys have any questions, it's pretty simple. sales@ZaranTech, info@ZaranTech, any of those email IDs, please send an email. Thank you again for attending this session on a Saturday. We have session 2, same time, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, 6:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Thank you. Take care now.